Hello and welcome to Defy's How To Tour. Hashtag Defy How To Tour. They're going to be a series of videos out every third Thursday, and we're going to have one topic. So today we're using magazines, and we're going to make this little butterfly slash dragonfly. I think I intended it to be a dragonfly, but so what we're using is some magazines. What I've showed you here is the Scrapbook magazine, the Cigar Aficionado, and the Real Simple. When push comes to shove, the heavier magazines really don't work for this project. It makes for a lot more work on your hands. So what I'm doing here is I'm just using a ruler and tearing out the pages. In the cigar magazine, it was bigger, so I did them in thirds. In this one, I kind of did them in thirds, but I left the last third in the magazine because it was kind of small. So I have already taken the time to make a lot of strips. So what we've done with the strips is made the little straw-like things. The striped one comes from a border around the outside of the page and made a beautiful candy cane stripe. What I'm using is a little dowel, and I'm going to make a bunch of straws. You just roll it at approximately a 45-degree angle. The smaller the angle, the longer the piece that you'll make. And I'm just using Elmer's glue, and yes, it's kind of messy, but it seems to be the best thing so far. I'm just going to give it a little time to pull out my stick, and you can go right into your next one. What I've done here is I need to make them flat. So I'm using a blending stump, but use whatever you've got, your scissors, your ruler, your fingers, a bone folder, and I like to curl them like that after I have smashed them because we're going to roll them up into circles anyway. So I'm using the dowel to get started. That will leave you a little bit larger hole. What I'm using here is the top end of the screwdriver is a Phillips head, so it's nice and even, and I just start wrapping it into a circle. Coiling it into a circle, I should say. You can glue as you go. I did not, but it seems to be tight enough that it holds okay. There I showed you that my glue's just in a cup upside down so that I can always have it ready for me. I've clamped it, and the little bulldog clamps are good, and paper clips and all kinds of things. They all will work. Now what I've done here is taken the little pieces, and to get the point, like for the wings, I just smash them down on one side. I suppose that you could, smash them as you go. What I'm showing you is with all these extra circles, you could just take any kind of box and cover the whole thing and make a whole decorated box. So there's other things you can do besides making little shapes. Another fun thing that I think is really cool is if you took a container. My thought is a Pringles can. This is what I had. It's a little can with baby wipes in it. And just stack them up. Of course, cut them to length, both ends. I didn't want to do that because I'm going to do something else with these, but I'm using a rubber band to hold them in place, and you would just glue them. And of course, they're going to be the right height. I think that would be really amazing with like a vegetable can, and then you'd have a really cool decorative pin holder or brush holder or whatever it needs to hold. As crafters and artists, we need things that hold things all the time. So I'm taking the two that are the top wings, and these two are the bottom, and I'm going to pick out some strips for the body and make a fold, the first fold, so that I know exactly how long, and I keep folding until I get it the right length. If you need it longer, you can just add some glue and one end will stick into the others almost every time. Not always, but almost every time. And just continue gluing them all together. As you will see in the rest of the video, keeping some of these things glued up and snug is difficult. I use clamps, I use bobby pins, I use paper clips. So I'm going to take another one and add it to the end and continue wrapping. You have to wrap enough to get to the size you want. On these, you do need to glue more than you do on the circles. There I show you how I smash the ends to make them come to a point. They could be wrapped that way. I think it's just as easy to smash them, especially if you're making a lot of the circles and you don't know what the project is going to be if you're just making them. So you put glue on there and hold these two on. Now, of course, they don't want to stick right away, so your patience is tested in the gluing process. What I do, or what I did with the first one that I made the sample, I have a pretty heavy rock and my steel block for hammering, and I push up against them so they kind of get, the pressure. So I've come back, I've glued them all on. Now, if you have a glue gun and you're used to a glue gun, you can use that, but you don't want the added bulk of a glue gun in there either. So I wanted the red and white striped, and I chose some red to go with it because I know it's going to take more than one strip to go around. So I just start going around and clamping as I go. And this is a slow process. In the long run, you really do need to hold it if you're using glue. Now, a glue stick works too. I just kind of like the glue better. So I could sit here and hold this until it's really dry. But there's lots of things you can do, like rubber bands. If you notice when I put the rubber band separated in between, and that's okay because I'm going to take my paper on over to where I get to the other center, and other center of the two wings, and then I can put a rubber band between them all. So it's just a process of wrapping and gluing and holding. I do cut the video, let it dry a little bit so that you can see me get through it all. Just tucking in all my little points so that everything stays where it's supposed to stay. And as you can see, I caught the rubber band in the strip, but it's okay because I just cut it out later. In this project, a rubber band is really handy. Now you just wait. Let it dry. And now I have both of the ones, the one I just finished and the one I had to show you what we were going to make. I could always add more glue to it. You could paint it. You could rub and buff it. You see my dirty finger there. I color on my finger with a Sharpie and then use it as like a rub and buff. You have to work fast, but it does work. So for this dragonfly, I'm going to show you a quick way to turn it, give it its antennas. It looks more like a butterfly. It was intended to be a dragonfly, so that's why I keep calling it dragonfly. So I just made the little antennas and I will glue them on the back, put the paper over it to make it so it stays, and then I have my wonderful antennas. Thank you.